It's a tremendous yarn that the member opposite has been running. It's an interesting one, actually, because there's a range of things you could talk about in transport. There's some very big issues. There's road safety is an important issue. There's the investments, major investments the government is making in roading, which we know sometimes members of the opposition don't like. There's also the big job turning around Kiwi Rail, which way too much money was paid for by the previous government. And there's other issues that we have to clean up, including the previous government's shortfalls they left in the driver licensing and driver testing accounts, which we're now trying to settle and solve. But of course, none of those things are that important to the opposition. They are focusing on one particular issue. And I think we can actually have a look at it, and I think it would be wise to have a look at it because it does actually point to something about Labour. And it's a physical reminder, I think it is a physical reminder, it's a physical reminder of Labour's lack of fiscal concern for anything. What we decided last week and are doing is to test whether the providers of services to Super Gold Card recipients for transport are being paid the right amount for the services that they provide. That is the purpose of the review. That is the purpose of the review. And the people that run the ferry out to Waiheke Island are being paid around $2 million a year to carry those with Super Gold Cards free of charge. Now, there's nobody's arguing whether they should be going out there or not. As we've said all the way through, we've accepted the policy, but the question we have to ask in testing everything from a fiscal point of view is that value for money in terms of what's being paid to the operator? It's not about the people that are actually using the card, it's about what's being paid to the operator. Now, I think what the Labor Party are telling us is that you should never test those things. That once you've actually voted some money for something, you should never look at it again. And of course, we have stacks of examples of that. We have examples in my own portfolios of transport and communications I tell where you write the cheque and then whatever you do, don't look. And in fact, don't ever test whether the money has been spent well, because you don't really care, because money, it just comes from the taxpayers, just bring some more money in and it'll be fine. And fortunately, we now have a responsible, fiscally responsible government that actually does care, that is prepared to test the assumptions, to maintain the services, but to be constantly testing whether we are actually getting value for money from the people that are providing the services. And that's what this government does. That's another example of it. That's what this thing was about last week. And it shows, once again, concern for the fiscal money that belongs to taxpayers in this country. And I would have thought that the Labor Party would be very interested to find out what's happening with Kiwi Rail, because after all, they spent about $1 billion on it, and they don't seem to have any concern about where that money went. They haven't raised it tonight. No concern about where the money has gone for Kiwi Rail, whether the business is in good shape. Could have taken a call, could have popped up and said, look, this is a big issue. This is $1 billion that we threw away in the dying months of our administration. We might have a little bit of an interest as to whether that money's going well or not, but no interest whatsoever. And also no interest in the rest of the rather large transport portfolio in terms of expenditure as to what's going on with that. So that's fine. That's their approach, and I'm sure they'll criticise everything we do as a government to check whether expenditure is the appropriate level for the service that's being provided. We're happy for them to do that, because I can tell you the taxpayers, and in fact Grey Power, want us to do that. They endorsed our approach on Friday, saying it. They did. They endorsed our approach, and they said, yes, we support the Minister in his attempts to ensure value for money from the passenger transport operators, so the scheme can be kept sustainable and continue into the future. That is what they said on Friday. So the Grey Power people are in favour, and every other taxpayer is in favour, and all the members on the other side of the House can do is say, well, look, we'd like to write the cheques, and once the cheque's gone, we don't care anymore. Well, Mr Chair, I don't think you'll find that'll be an approach for this government as long as it occupies these benches. Thank you, Mr Chair.